Welcome to the Biz Gone Social podcast. We help entrepreneurs navigate how to get known, get customers, and get the edge over their competition. Here is your host, Lorraine Duncan.
So here we are on the Biz Gone Social podcast, and I am so glad to be here. And my promise to you, as always, is I want to give you a little bit of verbal caffeine that's going to energize your business and help you stay social. Because after all, don't you want to be the business that everyone's talking about? I know I do. And welcome, Kristi Mitchell. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me, Lorraine.
This is really exciting. And so tell everybody a little bit about who you are and how you serve people.
Yes, I like to say I'm a marketing strategist. A lot of times people don't know what that means. So I look at all of the pieces that kind of make up a marketing plan for a business owner. So I have certain frameworks and processes that I use, but really at the end of the day, I believe that everybody's marketing plan should and can look very different. So you don't need to try and do all of the things that you see other people doing. Your marketing plan needs to be tailored specifically for your business. So I really help business owners figure out what do those pieces look like for their business and how do they create a cohesive and strategic marketing plan so that they can get out in front of their ideal audience and convert them to clients at the end of the day.
Is there a certain type of business owner that you usually work with, or do you just any business owner?
Yeah, so I have two sides to my business. So on one side of the business, I work with coaches, consultants, solopreneurs who are typically writing their own content. They've really grown their businesses on referrals and word of mouth. And it's worked. They've gotten to a certain point in business, but they're really just ready to take it to that next level. They don't want to have to keep going out and finding every single new client. They would like to have some inbound leads coming their way of qualified people who want to work with them. So I really enjoy working with them again to create that strategy. And then I also have some ongoing implementation support as well to really help guide them, hold them accountable, give them feedback, help kind of coach them along their journey of marketing their business. And then on the other side of my business, I also do consulting with small to mid-sized companies who have very small marketing teams. They're usually doing content marketing, right? Like webinars and downloadables and those sorts of resources, but there's not really a senior level marketing person. Usually it's the business owner who's kind of overseeing it. And so I come in as an outsider to really kind of assess and evaluate what they're doing to help them recognize areas of opportunity to really just kind of get better at everything that they're doing, right? Find those little areas and tweaks that they can make maybe on their messaging or maybe on the cadence of how they're approaching email marketing or whatever it might be, just to really get them better results for the effort that they're putting in.
That's awesome. Now, it's kind of funny. Part of a strategy that most people use is email marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, somebody asked me if email marketing was dead. And of course I said no, because first of all, it's never going to go away because you have to sign on to every single platform in your whole entire life with your email. That's number one. And number two, once it's in your email box, somebody has to delete it before before it's gone. So the bottom line is that email marketing is here to stay. So I know that's part of your strategy that you use in some of your businesses. Can you give me some, like maybe 3 or 4 tips that you have about email marketing?
Yeah, this is so timely. I just posted about it on LinkedIn today. So it's really funny we're talking about email marketing. So for me, when I work with clients, I like to talk to them about how to do email marketing in a way that feels right to them. Because a lot of times I'll say, you need to have a consistent presence. So like if you're starting from nothing, I always say like you need a monthly something going out. I usually call it a newsletter, but a lot of people are really averse to the term email newsletter. They're like, I hate email newsletters. I never read them. I don't want to do an email newsletter. So if that's how you feel about it, fine, don't do a newsletter. But find something that gets you excited that you want to be sharing on a consistent basis. What is it that you could provide that's valuable to your audience on a monthly basis? Again, if you're starting from nothing, let's try and get something out monthly. So whether it's, I see people use like different themes, like 3 things every Thursday or Tip Tuesday, or if you're creating a blog post every month, just feature send out an email campaign that features that blog post. And now you have content to be staying in touch with your audience over time. So I think finding what feels good to you is usually like the biggest tip that I give, because you don't want to just do something because you feel like you got to check the box and that's what everyone else is doing. You want to get excited about it because that's going to translate to your audience when they receive it.
I love that. It's so funny. I used to, when I first started my business, I remember, somebody said, oh, you have to grow your email list. And so I started doing that. And I remember I got my first unsubscriber and I was so torn, so upset. And then I realized that, one of the biggest reasons why somebody unsubscribes is that it's just not a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that because it kind of self-selects it. So now unsubscribers don't bother me as much.
Yes.
In the beginning.
So, yeah, we definitely take it really personal at the beginning for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm like, who is that person? Where do they live? I'm going, no,
yeah.
So there's other strategies that, business owners use. Sometimes it is the email newsletter. Sometimes it's a blog post. So what do you think about blogging? Do you think that that's a good thing for business owners to do, and why?
Yeah, it's another area where, again, I feel like some people approach it with this like dread and like, oh, I know I'm supposed to be putting out a blog because it's good for SEO and I got to show my thought leadership. But they end up having this kind of negative relationship with it. Like, oh, it's a I have to do rather than an I get to do. I still remember a business owner I worked with. She was like, well, I have these keywords that I'm supposed to target. And so when I go to write a blog post, I'm looking at the keywords and I'm like, no. That is not how you approach it. Like, think about some of the best clients that you work with and the things that they've really taken from what you do for them. Like, create a blog post about that, like one specific thing, create a blog post on that. And then after you've written it, then look at that list of keywords and figure out which ones might make sense to like sprinkle throughout. That is a much better approach because you're going to be now excited and interested in writing the content instead of dreading it. And your audience is going to be more interested in reading it because it's going to be more helpful and relevant to them than if you started with the keywords first and tried to create content out of that. So I do think that blogs can be a really great way to market your business because, again, it helps with SEO on your website, but then it can also feed all of these other things like we're talking email marketing, social media. Like a blog can be repurposed and reworked into multiple other formats. So it just kind of extends the life and then you get a bigger bang for your buck on the time and energy that you put into creating that blog.
Yeah. And I also, I work for a lot of clients, and one of the things that I do with their blogs is I make little micro posts for their social media. So speaking of social media, how important do you think social media is in a business owner's life? And also, like, what are some challenges that you see that's happening on social media?
Yeah, I really like social media because, and I know that I'm at risk for saying that because I know a lot of people hate social media. So I will say I like LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my platform. That is where I go. That's where I hang out. That's where I meet my audience. That's where they find me. I absolutely love being on LinkedIn. I love the opportunity that it gives me to network with people across the globe. Like the people I've met on LinkedIn in the past couple of years, it's crazy. I love LinkedIn. I see challenges with business owners trying to be in all of the places. So typically most of the clients that come to me, they're like, well, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, but I think I might only really want to be on LinkedIn. Like this is so common. So usually by the time they're done working with me, they've stopped Facebook and Instagram and they're all in on LinkedIn. Because a lot of times, right, when I'm working with coaches and consultants, like they serve, sometimes they're in the B2B space and also B2C, and like LinkedIn is where it makes sense for them to be. So I think trying to be in all the places is a big misstep that I see business owners making. I think that if you can find one platform that your audience is hanging out on, that you are excited to show up on, then I think that you can get a really great return on your investment for what you're doing on social media when you approach it that way. I think if you're trying to be in all of the places and do all of the things, it's usually a recipe for not doing any of them very well.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And so since you mentioned LinkedIn, I've got to ask you, I love LinkedIn too. It's my place to hang out. I'm actually known as the LinkedIn super ninja. So I I spend a lot of time with my clients on LinkedIn. But what I want to ask you is what do you see? A lot of people, when they go onto LinkedIn, they don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I always talk about it as being, this is a great place to network and connect with people like-minded. It doesn't necessarily have to be your ideal target market. It could be like a strategic partner or somebody you just want to, you want to connect with. So it's like, I like to think of it as a giant networking. thing.
Yes.
So here's my issue, and I want to know how you deal with it. My issue is with LinkedIn is that I am constantly getting spammed.
Yes.
And, like you connect with somebody, it's almost like you connect with somebody for the first time. Let's go home to my apartment or my house. You know what I'm saying?
Let's get married.
Let's get married now. And it's like, it's not how are you? It's like, I love when people, my favorite thing is, and it's a good thing, is when somebody says, just thanks for connecting. It's like, or I'm glad to connect with you. But what a lot of people do is they connect with you and then they spam you 3 paragraphs. Like I have time to read somebody's 3 paragraphs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a big fan of that. What do you do in your business to kind of curtail that and guide people with that, telling them that that's not what LinkedIn's for? That's not what you should be doing.
Yeah, I do hear that a lot. I certainly am on the receiving end of some of those messages. For whatever reason, I don't feel like I get a ton of them that makes it like, oh my God, I just hate going to LinkedIn now because I'm getting all these messages. I get a handful of them every week. Sometimes I'll just ignore it. I'll archive it. I'll delete it. Sometimes I'll respond and say, no, thanks. I'm not interested. Once in a while, people will still try and pitch me after I've said no, but I don't experience that a lot to the degree that I think that some people do. And I would say that's not just a problem with social media, right? We were just talking about email marketing. How many of us are getting emails from people that we don't want to be getting emails from, right? Like we get spammy emails. It's the same thing. I mean, unfortunately, with I think most marketing channels, you're going to get some bad with the good. It's just a reality that I think we need to accept. And recognizing and realizing right away when those messages are like, I'm just not even going to bother with it, like delete it and move on with my day and stay focused on why I'm here, to make genuine connections, to meet, strategic partners who might be able to refer business to me, or I can refer business to them, or whatever it is. I think it's going to happen no matter where you are, unfortunately.
So what would you say, is working for you on LinkedIn as using it as one of your marketing funnels and all that? What's working for you right now?
Yeah, specifically GIFs and carousels. As far as content goes, I find that those perform really well. Doing the slides, the carousel posts, whatever you want to call them, where you're uploading PDFs, not image files, but uploading a PDF of slides that people can click through. Those seem to be getting good engagement. GIFs, Schitt's Creek GIFs, I mean, they're still performing well for me. Maybe it's just the audience that I have, whatever. People like it. It's fun. It's funny. It's lighthearted. But there is also a business lesson in it, right? It's not just pointless. And this year, I've actually really been focused on LinkedIn Lives. I've been doing them about every month, and I'm absolutely loving them as a way. It's almost kind of like a podcast for me. Like I bring someone from my network on, we talk about a specific topic that's related to marketing and something else. I'm getting ready to do one about mindset and marketing. So I have like a life coach coming on with me, and we're talking about how your mindset can impact the success of your marketing efforts and those sorts of things. So I am loving that as an opportunity to get in front of more people and also to nurture my existing audience. I'm finding it to be a great tool to be able to help me achieve both of those things for my own marketing plan.
I love that. I'm going to switch gears. We're going to get a little real now. And
okay.
I love getting real. So tell me what you love most about being in business for yourself.
I love that. Well, I have to say 2 things. I love being able to structure my schedule around my son. So we are close enough. We walk to school. We walk home from school every single day. I absolutely love that I can do that. I can carve out time when there's an opportunity to volunteer at school. I can rework my schedule if he's sick and I need to take him to the doctor. I just love having that freedom and flexibility to really structure my work around him and not feel like someone's waiting on me for something. All of my clients are understanding when something like that comes up. So that is a big piece of it. And then I would say the other piece is really being able to make it what I want it to be. If I'm not enjoying an offer that I have, like, okay, well, it's up to me to change it then. How do I make it into something that I'm excited about and it's providing value to my audience? I'm a big doer and action taker. I like to make decisions and start implementing. And so that was one thing that was always a struggle for me in the corporate world, is like levels of approval and getting people on board and getting buy-in and like all these things. And I'm like, in my own business, like I get to take action and I get to just move things forward, which is really refreshing and energizing. And I feel like I'm providing a lot of value to my clients when I'm able to do that.
So true. So true. So we always talk about the glamour of being in business for ourselves. Everybody's like, your friends will say, wow, that's really cool. And the truth is there's some challenges. What would you say is the number one challenge that you face in today's business world?
I think the number one challenge is the lack of consistency, right? Like you are not getting a steady paycheck. Most business owners aren't, right? There's going to be some volatility and ups and downs and highs and lows. And that's just the name of the game. It's not, I'm collecting a paycheck every 2 weeks and it's for a set dollar amount. Like it doesn't work that way. So I think that's the biggest challenge that I personally have experienced, is like getting comfortable with that and knowing that you can work towards, certain offers and things that build in some consistency for you income wise, but it's never going to be guaranteed.
Cool. Favorite business book that really helped you move forward?
Oh, favorite business book. That is hard. I've read so many. I don't ever read fiction. I only read nonfiction. Because I have a horrible memory, I'm going to not answer that question, but I'll tell you what I'm reading right now, which is Buy Back Your Time, which is it's very timely. It was recommended to me because I'm at that point of like, okay, how am I growing from here and getting the help that I need to offload things that are taking up my time that don't need to be, that someone else could be doing. So Buy Back Your Time is my current favorite business book.
I love it. I love it. And lastly, I ask this on every show, and there's a diverse group of people who are listening to this podcast. Some are business owners, some are startups, and some seasoned, and also some may be thinking of having their own business. What is one universal piece of advice that you could give that would help them move forward in their business?
Everyone has a personal brand. No matter if you work for a company, you run your own business, whether it's you as a solopreneur, whether you have a huge team, whether you're thinking of starting a business, whether you're going to be a lifer in corporate, every single person has a personal brand. And it's up to you to proactively create that brand through your activities, through your content, through your social media presence, through a number of ways. Because if you don't proactively create it, other people will create it for you.
Totally love that. That's so true. So if somebody resonated with you today, how would they get in touch with you?
Yes, find me on LinkedIn for sure. That's where I live. I am there Monday through Friday. I post every single day of the week. And then also come check out my website, KristiMitchell.com. I have a resources tab. There are a bunch of free things in there. There's a quiz you can take to see how your own marketing efforts are going if you're a business owner. There's a free resource library. There's a whole bunch of goodies in there. So go check those out and let me know what you think.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for being a wonderful guest on my show. And until next week, I will see everybody soon.
Thanks for listening to the Biz Gone Social podcast. Find us on Instagram at Biz Gone Social for extra tips. Check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, stay social.